Welcome back, everyone. In today's episode in the Disassembly series, I'm going to be taking apart the CRK Umnumzaan. And the only reason I'm breaking it down, because I just got this, is I'm removing the lanyard and the lanyard pin. I just don't use my knives with lanyards, so I typically get them removed as soon as I get them. And which is dope about CRK knives, they do provide you all the necessary tools to take it apart and maintain. So you do have fluorinated grease, you got some thread locker, and the different Allen wrench sizes that you'll be needing. I'm not going to use the fluorinated grease or the thread locker. I do have my own. I've been using this one for a while. So I'm going to set those aside. And let's get to it. So I want to take out the clip first. Definitely a huge plus about CRK knives is that provides you the necessary tools to maintain your knife. This is not going in though. Let's see. Here we go. Sit that there. Pocket clip takes a little bit of finagling to get off sometimes. There we go. Okay. I'm going to loosen the body screw on the presentation side first. Yo. Okay. Now, I typically open a knife when I go about disassembling from the pivot, only because I don't want the knife to shift once you loosen the pivot and then end up scratching. Oh yeah, you will need both. Scratching the blade. So they do provide you two of the pivot Allen wrenches, pivot screw Allen wrenches, because it is free spinning, so you do need to hold one in place. And if you do this with the knife open, please be careful. Safety first, and I would recommend put on some blue tape, some painter's tape on the blade, on the edge, I mean. I know I'm not setting an example by not doing so on my side. I've gotten used to disassembling these without it, so don't judge me. There's that, the pivot screw. This is, here we go. And that's the hard body screw. Let's see. I'm just going to disengage the lock so it helps push the scale off. There we go. Nice and easy. Another great thing about CRK knives. So there's your lanyard pin with the lanyard. And I'll post a link, but you can get a lanyard pin replacement hardware kit from CRK knives directly that will go into that area, so you don't just have a hole on your knife. Because once you put this back together, you see it's just, there'll be a hole where the pin was. And if you want a cleaner look, you can get that. Not a big deal to me, so I haven't yet gotten one. But that is available. Okay, both sides use the same washer. Or, yeah. If you're familiar with Sebenzas, they have different washers on each side. Got that off. Let's see. Everything is falling off. All right. So let's take a look at a few of the components. So this is the pivot. Alright, so that goes with the pivot screw right here. Set this on this side. This is the back spacer to go with the body screw. Well, this is the body screw right here. And this is the female version, female side. Set that there. We got your phosphorus bronze washers, 2 of them. Got your presentation scale, D23. I don't recall what these stand for, but yeah, because this one says A24. My recollection, one is A, one side is B. So I'm not entirely sure why this side is called is D. It's actually a different year. Well, a different number. If anyone knows more about that, feel free to drop a comment so we can share with the community. Would appreciate that. Is your clip side. Before I put it back together, I'm gonna do some cleaning. So get my rubbing alcohol, touch up the scales first. Just a quick clean and then dry it off. It will evaporate, so I guess you don't really need to dry it off. Same with this side. And same with the washers. I would recommend a microfiber cloth just because, actually, you know what? This is the microfiber side, I believe. That way you don't get any loose lint with the hairs from the towel onto the washers or any other components of your knife, which could throw off the, well, and cause blade play, I suppose. All right. Okay, so let's see. First things first. Let's get this side ready. Throw some fluorinated grease on the clip side. I'm still debating how much grease to use when you're re-lubricating it. I've tried not a lot, I've tried too much, and they all kind of provide different results. So, in my opinion, this is quite a lot, but we'll see. Okay. And I'm just gonna go ahead and throw it on the blade. So also, just wanna show you, you can tell the steel by what's denoted here on the blade. This one's M for Magnacut. I think the 35 and 45 just say those numbers. So S35VN would just have 35 on it. Either 35 or 3. So I haven't taken one of those apart in a while, so I'm not entirely sure, but the M definitely denotes Magnacut steel. This part gets a little tricky because, I mean, you could put something in there to make sure that body screw stays in there. Otherwise, it'll keep falling out. So be careful of that. Let's see. And when you're putting it back together, just make sure that both sides, the gaps isn't asymmetrical. I mean, there should be the same amount of gap on both sides between the blade and the scale. And usually when you're trying to put it back, I just release the lock so it snaps in. Oh, this one came apart. There we go. Go ahead and throw the pivot on first, but I'm not going to tighten it up. I'll just... Oh. Chris Reeve knives are one of the most simple, in my opinion, simple knives to take apart and maintain. It's not complicated. It's not too many components. And the action tends to dial in fairly easily. There's me struggling to grab that. Actually, you can probably just use your fingers to catch it. Not. There we go. Centering looks good. Let's see. Yeah. It's about as centered as it was before I took it apart. Blade play? Nope. Oh, that's smooth. A little bit smoother than before I took it apart, so that's nice. Go ahead and tighten the body screw. I've had mixed experiences with body screws and pivot screws coming loose on Chris Reeve knives. Not so much with the Umnumzaan, but I have with my Sabenzas. So something to keep in mind. I mean, they provide you the thread locker for a reason. So if you want to provide that extra security, or just, you know, pay attention. If you hear any rattling, that typically means that your screw is, either your pivot or body screw is loose. But that feels good. I guess that wasn't too much lube, but yeah. Let's throw the pocket clip back on. I threw it on there, but as you can see, there's a gap in there that's not pushing the pocket clip all the way down. So something to keep in mind. These are tight, tolerances on these are very tight. So you will need to ensure that you tighten that pocket clip screw down all the way. All right, that feels good. And it's flickable. There's debate about whether or not you should be flicking Chris Reeve knives. It's your knife, do what you want, right? I like to slow roll mine most of the time though, so. All right, well, that sums up the quick lanyard removal. Let me know if you have any questions, post in the comments. Yeah, let me know if you've had any issues disassembling yours. It'd be great to share that feedback with the community. I will have a subsequent video that compares the glass blasted finish on this one, which also has the drop point blade. And I'll be doing a comparison with the sandblasted Tanto version. All right, well, as always, really appreciate you tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your day and stay frosty.